Every day we breathe air we cannot see and trust data we do not understand. But what if a very data could be the key to be saving lives, shaping policies, and empowering millions? So, welcome back to the sustainability side. I'm your host, Dr. Sama, where we bring your conversations that just don't matter. It is more than that. We inform, but we also empower. Today's episode is incredibly important because we dive into something that sits at the heart of climate action, but it's often overlooked. I'm talking about data. Not just numbers, but just as reports, but data as power. Joining us today is Julian Tabaro, a climate practitioner working across air quality advocacy, climate finance, and citizen science. So, from leading community air monitoring initiatives in Kampala to breaking down complex carbon markets through her platform, Carbon Clarity Africa. Julian is on a mission to make climate information accessible, relatable, and actionable. Because here's the truth: action in the climate cannot be succeed if people are left out of conversation. So today we're gonna explore how we can change that with our small introduction.
Sing it loud, let's unite on the sustainability side. Feel the love day and night. Let's turn the tides, make a change today. Together we define our sustainable way. With every step we take, we rise and glow on the sustainability side. Let the give us flow.
Welcome back, everybody. And right now with us is Ms. Tabaro and Ms. Tamara. So, as you all know, Tamara is our lovely coordinator of GGC, and she is coordinating with our Sustainability Side podcast. So, yeah,
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. This is exciting.
thank you, everybody. So, my question to you, Ms. Tabaro: you started in engineering and hydrology. How did the evolve into climate advocacy and public engagement happen?
Like I told you, my background is civil engineering, and under civil engineering, there are there is structures, there is water, there is geotechnical, pavement engineering, quite a number. So I specialized in water, so I was into hydrology, hydraulics, designing flood systems. So in time, you get to realize you can design perfect systems. You model them, you use softwares to actually model to see what would be on ground. And you get to implementation time, and people tell you, for us, we do not have the land to put these kinds of drainage systems. So you realize there is a gap. For you have done the science, you know this size of drainage system is perfect, but on ground, someone does not appreciate it. They do not see the essence. So you realize there is a gap. People need to appreciate that by the time I designed for you this, it is perfect for you. Whether you have land to extend for this drainage system to fit, it's good for you. Otherwise, your homes will flood, things like that. So I joined this gap mainly to bridge that knowledge gap. Usually there is the technical is so hidden, and then the action bit. So there is this gap that needs to be addressed. So that's how I got really into advocacy and public engagement.
Some foods don't just fill you, they heal you. Ancient grains, timeless nutrition, crafted for today. From heritage rice, noodles to wholesome flakes and pasta, every grain is a step towards better health. Because wellness isn't a trend, it's a way of life. Nelligum, eat like your roots intended.
That's really interesting. So, thank you for answering that. Now, moving on, we will discuss about your love towards the climate change and data. Okay. So climate data is often seen as technical, and why that is a problem? Why a common person cannot able to understand that?
Why climate data of being technical becomes a problem is that really actually the climate change impacts often actually affect people who do not understand this data at all. So it becomes a problem if it remains too technical. It has to be broken down into digestible bits, into information that people can ably understand so that it actually makes sense. Otherwise, the science will just remain the science. We have so much research in climate information, all the climate effects that are even happening today, but it is all just piled up in research. It is all just there as data, yet the people who are mostly affected do not understand it. So it really does not make sense if climate data remains locked away in technical spaces, yet it should help the people that are mostly affected to make sustainable choices and even make choices that are better for their environment. So yeah, climate data being so technical, it doesn't make sense, and it won't make impact if it remains very technical. Yeah.
That's really great. Thank you for explaining that. So my next question would be like, what does it actually mean to turn climate data into public action? How does it look like?
Turning climate data into public action, for me, it means data going beyond just collecting it, analyzing it, and making it part of our public life. It means translating this evidence into something people can relate with through community. It could be through community conversations, it could be through storytelling, it could be through media, through policy reforms, through quite a number of things. But it means like public data to be made to, climate data, turning it into public action, for me is to a point where people we move beyond the numbers. We move beyond the huge research papers. We get into a point where people understand the data, they own it. And of course, once they own it, action is easy. Yeah.
That's really great. So Tamara, you have
Yeah,
questions for me?
I'm curious too. I have a question too. So how do you literally get it directly to the people that need to truly understand it? How do you, as someone that advocates for this, do that action?
So I'm going to use an example of air quality because that's the climate change is so broad.
Yes.
That's why when someone says I'm a climate change advocate, I'm like, where exactly? It's too broad. We have air, we have water. So let me just give you just a brief. Initially, I was actually into water advocacy, given you see my background is in hydrology and hydraulics. I was into water advocacy. How can we make water more accessible? How can we have clean water? How can we stop the flooding? But then in time, I got to realize that the causes of global warming cause air pollution, and somehow it is connected to causing water issues. When we get to the plastics, when we get to the air pollution affecting the ozone layer, and we are not receiving rain as should, so that's where we're having the floods, So that's how now I get into air advocacy, because if we address the air, the water will be sorted. We are going to have the rains as should, something like that. So that's how I got from water advocacy into air advocacy. So I'm going to give you an example of air advocacy on how we making climate data more digestible for the people who are most affected. Yeah. So last year we had a project where we called it Empewo Bwebulamo, in loosely meaning air is life. So we were installing air quality monitors around Kampala. That is really highly technical. That is data. Someone who didn't do anything related to that wouldn't understand it. So how we helped people understand this data we were passing on is, firstly, the very first campaign we did was it was by me. I had a 60-kilometer run from Kampala to Luwero. Kampala is the city center. So that's why we have the congestion, that lots of traffic, the industries. Kampala is not organized. So everything is in Kampala. So much pollution. But as you get away into the areas outside Kampala, like Luwero, because I was running from the city center from Kampala to Luwero, those are 60 kilometers. I just wanted to show a trend that as you move away from the city center, the air gets better. So that was it was to open the campaign of letting you understand the data. Yes, we have installed the monitors, but so what? So that was our first campaign we did. So I did a 60-kilometer run, and the video went viral. It went viral. That
Great.
implies people were understanding it from, you aside the bit, because there's quite a number of running communities in Kampala. So someone can easily relate to running. Like, so if in the running, you pour in a mix of air quality, you get them conversing about certain things they wouldn't have conversed about. And we did really quite a number of so many campaigns. Right now, that is the one I can recall offhand, but that is one example I can give you, relating the data to everyday activities. It is maybe like now the Mulago Lung Institute here in Kampala. Because, for example, air quality really is one contributor to lung cancer. So one way we are trying to break down the data into action is actually helping these people realize that, yes, there are other effects that cause lung cancer. But, taking in bad air also, causes this. So you help them with the numbers. You go back to the numbers in the 90s, to the 2000s, and you show them, do you realize there has been an increase?
Yes.
The spike is so high. So what could be causing some of these things? So trying to relate the data to our everyday, our everyday life.
That's great. Bringing it straight to the people directly through, sounds like social media of some type. Is that how you did the campaign? Was it through? Yeah, was it through social media? No, I was just going to say, was it through, when you say you did a campaign, tell me a little bit more about the campaign. How did you launch that campaign?
So the 60-kilometer run, when I did it, I got a film person to film me as I pass through various roads, various areas, the industrial areas, the green areas. Then they created a video. I'll share it with you. It's really a beautiful video.
Yeah, that's exciting. That sounds great.
Yeah, so we made a beautiful video. Of course, in the background, I was talking about air quality. I was talking about, yes, I'm running for my health, but I'm actually breathing myself to death.
Amazing.
Things like that, like running is good for my physical and what. So then I posted the video on X, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on the various social media platforms. It went so viral.
That's great. Good job. That's amazing. That's really wonderful. Getting it straight to the people, and social media these days is the way to do it. That's great.
So you successfully completed the campaign. So kudos to you.
Yes.
No, the campaign is still going on because air is something we shall have all our lives. Yeah, we might not have viral campaigns right now, but that one was really a major one. Yeah, but the campaign is still going on. It goes under the hashtag Kampala Breathes. Yeah,
that's great. Yes, Tami.
Oh no, I'm good. I think that's wonderful. I mean, I'm super excited. I wish more people in different parts of the world would keep campaigns going on like that. That was very innovative. And so tell me a little bit more about, since you did that campaign, what type of results have you been seeing due to, people making changes?
I don't want to be so ambitious, but there were no air quality conversations in Kampala before. They were not there. I do not want to be so ambitious, but because I've been in the media for long, I love following stuff, especially when I'm interested in something. I will Google it, what is happening on media, but we didn't have air quality conversations before then. But since we started that campaign, because of course, when you do such videos, you tag the parties responsible. For example, NEMA, National Environment Management Authority, you tag them, you're like, guys, what's up? You tag the ministers in charge of these things.
Good job.
From we started having, actually, these guys go on TV to tell people about air quality. They started to update people about the PM 2.5 levels. PM 2.5 is one of the parameters for air quality. The whole limit, the World Health Organization limit is 15. So we started having them going on TV to tell for these things. And up to now, because once in a while we chip in with something powerful, still, because our governments are kind of, they want you to poke them in order to do something. So every time you poke them.
You poked them.
Yeah, they get talking. So even up to now, once in a while, for example, in Air Quality Awareness Week. So once they see you actively, pushing out stuff, telling people, you start seeing on their social media pages, they also start saying something. Once you quiet down, they also quiet down. So, but really, up to now, it's something not to be ambitious again, like I said before, but we didn't have air quality conversations before our campaign. Yeah.
That's
really
wonderful. Good job. Great.
Kudos to you for the great initiative, I would say, because by looking at you, a lot of other people want to do the same. So you have created a spark across the globe. So continuing with our conversation, you have managed to talk a little bit about the common involvement, right? How can Africa overall leverage climate finance in a way that which is fair and impactful? Whole of the countries, all the other nations who are watching us, who had watched you, what do you want to tell them in relation to the climate finance in a way that is fair and impactful?
So one way Africa can leverage climate finance is firstly making sure that the people who own, because I run a series I call Carbon Clarity Africa. Under Carbon Clarity Africa, I demystify some of the myths around climate finance, carbon markets, especially for the African audience. So the only way Africa can actually gain from climate finance is if the owners of the land actually understand what this means. Because most of these conversations are really left in the boardroom. They end at boardroom level. Then you have taken people just falling onto people's land. Because once we are talking about climate finance, it's really broad. But if we narrow it down to, let's say, carbon project implementation, because once the finances come in, we have to implement the project. So keeping all that, the bureaucracies from when the finances come in to when the projects are implemented, if we go down to the project implementation, if the guardians of the land really do not understand what you're doing, it is pointless. It is pointless because I work in carbon project development with ESCC, East African Carbon Company. And on ground, you have people thinking these people just want to steal our land. The Green Climate Fund is giving us this money because they want to steal our land. But remember, GCS really is not interested in that. They want to make sure Africa remains lush. It gets to actually make money for keeping lush, for keeping it green. But people know, like, no, I don't want you to plant trees in my land because after how many years you're going to claim my land? Or
Yeah,
what
they don't
other myths
understand.
that are always made?
They
Quite a
are
number
very
of things.
afraid. Mm-hmm.
Yes, quite a
Yeah,
number
yeah,
of
they don't understand.
yeah. So unless actually the custodians of the land get to understand what climate finance implies, it Africa will not benefit so much from this. And given that we are really a corrupt continent,
I believe it's the whole countries are like that, not only with the Africa. Most of
Yeah.
the countries,
It's
yes.
not just Africa anymore, honey. It's everywhere.
That's
so
true.
Unfortunately.
we shall just have these finances stopping at the political level. The politicians will just squander this money and nothing will be done. And 50 years down the road, we shall realize it has been a scam. We have been paying. Africa is being financed. Money is being sent, but there is nothing to show for it on ground. So
Hmm.
really, one way we can leverage is if we can still break down the data. Let the custodians of the land really understand what this means for them and how can they actually benefit from it. Yeah.
Hmm. That's really brilliant. That's the grassroots way of you explaining all over the things in a very nutshell way. So when you're talking about the people getting involved, and all the policies, I had a question like, what will happen when the community start questioning the data they are given in? So how powerful this science, the citizen science will be reshaping the environmental accountability.
Mm. Actually, for me, that would be an important step because when people start questioning, it implies they're interested. It implies they're trying to understand. So that would be a very big step when we start questioning the data. Because if people actually start, trying to, because like going back to the campaign, people started talking because they were questioning some of those things. Authorities started, talking because people were starting to talk. So when they start questioning, that's when even the gaps can be, addressed. That's when people can be made to understand this kind of data communicates this. This is how we can leverage this kind of data to make our communities better. These are the policies that the government should pass in order for these kind of things to pass. So when they start questioning, it would be a very huge step for us really as a globe, because climate change is not isolated. Air
Mm.
pollution, Kampala could be facing heavy air pollution because there was a fire in India, because the winds blew,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we start questioning, that's when public participation really begins. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as an overall collective, not only the common people, everyone, even a small amount of people, like how you started a campaign, what would be your vision for reshaping the environmental accountability when it comes to African continents or the people? That's what's in your mind.
For me, I see a point when we get to a point where the data is no longer, in silos, when we are breaking down things, when we are not talking about climate change as a silo, because climate change is broad. That's why it bothers me when I'm a climate change advocate. Be specific, because climate change
Mm.
is very broad. So when we get to a point when people are no longer treating these things as silos, treating climate action as a silo, because also climate action is broad. You have to break it down in order to be able to create impact. So if we get to a point when these things are broken down, you are specific. You're like, I'm specifically targeting water. And let's say in water, I'm specifically targeting plastics because plastics they broke the drainages. When we get to downstream, we see oceans being affected. So animal life is affected. So when we stop having these things in silence, breaking
Mm.
down and being clear that this is what I am up for. then we shall have reached really at a good point in climate action or even climate advocacy. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
great. So we are talking
very
about
good.
Kampala here, right? So if you can compare Kampala to other African continents, other countries, where you think you are ahead and where you think you, in the sense like Kampala is ahead, where you think it needs to get upgraded, which part of the environment advocacy it could be, which part of the climate action, including air quality, water crisis, it could be anything.
So Kampala has a challenge because it is very hilly. Ideally, the city sits in a valley.
Hmm.
So when you talk of Kampala, someone will immediately think of floods because
Mhm.
the drainages are not sufficient. Because I mean, these drainage systems here were designed by, let me see, they were designed by the colonialists. They,
Oh.
we are still
They need a
depending on
little
that. And
updating. It's been a minute.
Kampala has grown, the population has grown, infrastructure has grown. So everyone will say floods are an issue. That there is water crisis, small downpour, and all the shops downtown are flooded. Business closes. So anyone would say floods. But personally, I have really grown to be passionate about air quality
Hmm.
because you could go even 4 days without water, but air,
Yeah,
as a
it's very
10 seconds, you're
essential.
gone. You
Yeah,
are gone.
yeah.
So, and also, I earlier I explained to you really why I came from water advocacy and into air advocacy, because the issues that cause air pollution somehow get into water. If we can solve air, if we can stop, if the ozone layer can clear, then we can know when the rains are coming, when it will be dry. Then, even as the designers of drainage infrastructure, we shall design sufficiently. We shall design sufficiently to cater for these issues. So, of course, Kampala would want the drainage system to be cleared, but the air mostly, because I can go without water for days, but air,
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
this
need
is
the air.
essential. Yeah. So, if you are, of course, you are a great influence. More than a Kampala, you are influence to everybody as an ambassador all over the world, people who are listening and watching. So, if you want to take one good thing from any country, from where you want to take and what it will be to the Kampala. If you want to bring something to Kampala, what it would be.
um, it would be the urban planning. Because you see, Kampala is actually green. It has green spaces. But our urban planning is very terrible. If the industries were in a place that should be, the residentials in a place that they should be, the government offices where they should be, if everything was where it should be, I feel like even the systems would be better.
Hmm.
Because in Kampala, the residences are in industries, offices are in with government offices, like everything is a mix. So because of course the waste generated by, let's say, an office or an industry or a home is different. So in an incident that we had our urban planning really great, if our urban planning was better, we have the industries where they should be, we have the homes where they should be, we have offices where they should be. That is one thing I would carry from elsewhere and bring to Kampala.
That's really brilliant. That's brave
Very
of
good.
you to come forward and accept. Yeah, this is what it is not right, and I want to change. But at the meantime, if you want to give something from Kampala to the rest of the world, what would you give? Any advice?
Kampala is, Kampala is a happy place.
Hmm.
Oh, that's
It
great.
is a happy place. It doesn't matter whether it is flooding, whether people know the air is bad. People are so receptive. It is a happy place. Like everyone is just happy.
I
Yeah,
believe the world needs that right now with everything going on, right? We all need
That
that
is
happiness.
correct. That's happiness is something that needs to be spread everywhere.
That will be
That'd be great.
amazing. So, if we truly want to get inclusive with the climate action, what need to change, including systems, communication, or the mindset? What would you pick?
if we are to, get away from data being stacked up on tables and gathering dust, all this research now piled up on the internet and
Hmm.
into action is bridging this gap that I've been telling you about. Let the people understand what is in the data. Let the people
Hmm.
understand what is in the papers. Yeah.
That's great. So we are talking about climate action and data. So you also previously mentioned if people started asking questions, that means which is good. What do you think we can do to make them ask the question? That means we understand they are getting aware of it. What is the primary thing we need to focus on?
For to get them asking the questions is making the data relatable.
Hmm.
Using this data into things like breaking it into their everyday life, relating it to their health, relating it to their work, relating it to their children, relating it to really things they live with daily. For example, if I'm to use air quality as an example, if I tell you, because in Uganda and Kampala, people still use charcoal and firewood to cook. So if I
Hmm.
tell you that the charcoal and firewood you're using to cook, it releases PM 2.5 levels that are very high for your health.
Hmm.
But however, gas would be a better option. So you are using data and relating it to something someone does every day, because people do cooking every day.
Hmm.
Then you tell women, because women are more susceptible to issues of air quality. Air quality
Hmm.
affects us more because of our lung size, because of generally we are exposed more because women are more in the kitchen in Africa. It's not something I'm afraid to talk about. So women are more in the kitchen. So if they're more in the kitchen, they're more exposed to the poor air from cooking and all. So if you tell women, actually the poor air quality affects you more because of
Hmm.
your lung size, because you are in the kitchen more, because you are the one going to the markets, you're exposed to all these kinds of things. If we relate it to the everyday things they do, also
Hmm.
telling them cooking badly affects your child. That's why we have more children having asthma. That's why you are making it personal. You're helping them make the data personal. Something that is affecting your child, something that is affecting you personally, it gets you to act. It helps like, oh, if I can buy really gas, let me get a gas tank instead, or I live electing my family in a poor air environment, yet, it's killing them. So if we
Hmm.
can make the data more personal, related to what people do each and every day, then if you go to the workspaces, if your workspace has poor air quality, it affects how you think. It
Hmm.
even makes you fatigue very fast.
Yes.
There are studies really around all these things. So if you can,
Yeah.
there is a study here. If the air is bad, you are not going to give your employer the hours you're supposed to give them. So the employer realizes, oh, I'm losing out if my employees cannot give me what they are supposed to because the air in my workspace is terrible for them to deliver. How can I make them deliver better? Then we have
Hmm.
offices, adopting biophilic designs, things like that, so the employees, are in a better environment. So it's about making the data personal. Try to make
Hmm.
the data relatable to the things people do on an everyday.
That's beautiful. You have
Sounds like you
awakened a lot
have,
of people.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
It
please
sounds
go
like you
ahead.
have a few more campaigns you need to get started.
Yeah,
A few more social
I'm
media
still
campaigns. I love the
Yeah, quite a
one,
number of
what about the
campaigns.
women in the kitchen? I think that could go really far.
That's
Hmm.
true.
Mm.
Because see, what I believe, you are doing an incredible job, because having creating awareness is the biggest job. It's a toughest job in the whole planet, and you are doing it, and you successfully have created and yet to create so few campaigns. So imagine a women army with you, having the questions why, what does the data does, why are we not getting all this goodness. Imagine the impact it will create. So I would definitely encourage you to go ahead, have more campaigns, and I'm pretty sure GGC and the sustainability side will be with you to run this campaign throughout, to help it reach throughout the globe, so that more people come forward from their respective countries, and
Absolutely.
yeah, we'll have a voice together so that a change can
And you can
happen.
pass that baton on to them. Yes.
Yeah. So I believe now we have come to the end of our session, right? We have a rapid fire round. So basically, we will ask one-liner questions, and you can answer us in a simple word, in a simple line, in a simple way. So, right? You wanna go ahead, Tamara? How come? Like, do you wanna go ahead, or shall I?
Oh, you should. You go ahead.
Okay, okay. So my first question is, one word to describe climate action today.
Um, Climate action for me is the people understanding the data. First
Okay,
step. Yeah.
okay, that's great. Air quality or climate finance? What needs more attention right now?
Mm, Climate finance. Yeah, because we cannot address air quality without the finance. The money is critical. Yeah.
Hmm. So, next question. A myth about climate change you are tired of hearing every time.
Come again?
It's a myth about climate change you are tired of hearing all the time. Any myth or anything stupid?
Someone introducing themselves as a climate change advocate. You are telling lies. Break it
Hmm.
down. Climate change is so broad. Yeah.
That's great. So, one daily
Okay.
habit people can change today.
Mm, Dispose of rubbish. Around Africa, really, dispose of rubbish is terrible. Yeah. People throw around plastics. So that's really a terrible habit. The oceans are crying, the fish are crying. So
Mm.
stop dumping rubbish. Yeah.
So,
That's great.
though it was a simple answer, the impact that you are creating within us, it is making us think. Okay, how many of us are doing it actually? It doesn't matter. It's African countries or not. Everybody right now, I would say these questions are common for all. Most of us are not doing, even in a lot of developed nations. I believe Tamara can agree with me. Most of them doesn't do
Oh, yes.
most of the things. Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much for very grassroots answers that you are giving us. So moving ahead, I have more
I
questions. Hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I
Tam.
have one question too, if you don't mind. What I really, excuse me, would like to know, what moment in your journey made you really realize that your work was really making a difference and it really mattered?
We were running a certain campaign. We were involving children in air quality because also children are vulnerable. They're affected by air quality, poor air quality. Then we installed an air quality monitor in a certain slum in a compound. So when we got to that compound, the parents were not there, but the children were there. It was 12-year-old, 8-year-old, and I think 4-year-old or 5. Can't recall so well. Then Of course, once we get to when we're installing air quality monitors, if we install it in your area, we tell you about it. We engage with the local leadership. We have some we talk to the people.
Hmm.
But now in particular, we talk to that home. So that home didn't have an adult. We only had the children and of course the household. So we talk to the children about air quality and how it affects them as children, how it affects their parents, Then this boy, I remember his name was called Gabriel. So
Oh, got disconnected.
Are we frozen?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
no.
That was a good part.
Oh, that
We
was
will
the
wait for
best
her.
part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we reconnect?
She will
Yeah.
be, I believe. Let us give us some time.
8 years old. Yeah,
Oh,
it shows
yeah.
one. Hello? Yeah,
Yeah.
I lost you a bit there. But
Yeah, we
to
lost
answer your
you. We didn't
question,
hear that.
Can you come back with the boy part? His name is Gabriel.
mm,
Can you continue?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, right.
so
Yeah,
I was
right at
interacting with
Gabriel, you cut
Gabriel.
out.
Yeah, after our air quality talk, telling him what causes the poor air quality, how can we do better, things around that. Then he asked me when we're about to leave, after like our 20-minute, conversation, he asked me, can I bring my colleagues from school to see the air quality monitor? And I will tell them about what we talked about. Oh my God, for me, even the 60-kilometer campaign was nothing. That boy really touched my heart, and he pushed me even to do more because 8-year-old, you understood and want to bring your friends and tell them about it. It was so touching because that means he understood. He understood the concept. Yeah, that was really the moment for me.
That's great. Like your
That's
next generation come
and
towards.
you know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. For children, teaching our youth is so important because the youth is our future, and we really need to get these messages to the children. It's, in the schools and
Yeah.
everything as fast as possible because, this is for them and they're going to be able to, make the world a better place with their actions and hopefully repair some of the things that we've created, unfortunately.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So Tamara, you have any other questions?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay. So coming back, we are discussing about the things. Um, okay. So you have discussed about grassroots problems right from the start, like even the whole we have discussed a lot, but with your personal journey, have you faced resistance when you're trying to make these climate issues more public because you have run a lot of campaigns? Have you felt that resistance or somebody is trying to stop you from doing all these kind of things?
Mm, yeah, when we started some of this campaign, someone, especially on social media, people of course are faceless. People use faceless accounts. You do not know them. People would put random comments. They're trying to say you try these. How come these conversations never reach grassroots? You people try to keep them in how do I describe it? Or we had comments like, you're doing this because you're a girl, so that you can, get opportunities. What? Some of these things are, for some of us, they're close to our hearts. But someone just, minimizes your effort to the fact that you're just a girl and you're just looking for money, you're just looking for fun, you're just looking for opportunities.
There's a lot of haters in the world, my dear. A lot of haters. And you just gotta You've got to
Yeah.
just persevere and take the bad, unfortunately, with the good. The good will prevail.
Yeah. So yeah, that was for me some bit of resistance, but with time, people realize maybe the message is deeper, especially when people who are more like technical or people who are passionate about the environment start to interact with your conversations and they're giving your posts mileage.
Mm.
So, all that phases out. People trying to say, like they say, you're saying problems. Even in America, it's the same issue. What are you talking about? So what if it's the same issue? Someone actually do not know it's an
Doesn't
issue.
matter.
That's great. Yeah. It takes a lot to come up and talk
And
about
it
it.
doesn't matter because issues wherever they need to be solved. So it might be in America, but we're here. So let's focus on our issues.
You know?
That's right. So we are talking about all these weird comments and stuff, but what keeps you motivated when the progress feels little slow, or how would you come back as a emotional impact?
So in Africa, I do not know how on you guys end is, but for us, you inherit land, you inherit cows, you inherit animals from your parents. There is
Mm,
that physical inheritance to really get. But where we are at now, we no longer have that privilege. Land is no longer as precious as was then, or
mm,
even animals, because you won't have where to keep them. It is no longer as precious. But we can live a sustainable environment for our children. If my child can inherit a globe whose air is becoming better, whose water is becoming better, I feel like that will be the greatest inheritance I can leave for my children,
mm,
because really the physicals are no longer as valuable as used to be right here for us in Africa. It's no longer really valuable. But if a cleaner globe for my child, that is one thing that keeps me going. I could, yes, inherit all these properties, all these businesses, and leave that for my children. But if
mm.
the air is bad, if their lifespan is being cut short, even at birth, that is terrible. What is the essence of the high-rise businesses? If the air is bad, if the water is bad, if the land is bad, then so what keeps me motivated and to keep going is, can I live a globe that is getting better for my children and for my grandchildren?
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. So that was my next question. I was about to ask you what legacy you want to leave behind, but you already answered that question. Is there anything you need to add on with that question?
Really, I don't think there is anything, because I believe, for me, clean air is a birthright. In
Mm,
time when I evolved, as we've been discussing, clean air is actually a right. It's your birthright. So if really, even if 0.1 steps at a point I am no more, and the globe is getting to a point where the air can get cleaner, the water can get better, that is enough for me.
beautiful.
That's
You nailed every
awesome.
single point. It's very refreshing to have a conversation with you. So this conversation reminds us that climate action is not just about policies or about taking the pledges. It's about the people, it's about the initiatives, what we are doing today and what we can do for our future. It's about making sure the information is shaping our future, not in a locked away reports, but also in a way that it placed in our hands for those who need it the most. Because when people understand, they act, and when communities understand, they act and they change, and the change becomes unstoppable. Thank you so much, Mr. Barrow, for explaining this everything in a beautiful way, in a very narrative and an interactive session for that. Thank you so much for being
Yes,
here.
we appreciate your time and sharing with us. You're doing, amazing work, and just keep it going. And we look forward to hearing more from you.
Thank you for having me. It was really delightful.
Thank you so much. So, people who are listening and watching us, if this episode resonates with you, you're somebody who you think, yeah, that's what happening in our place, in our country, in our land. Now it's right time. You can also start a campaign like how Ms. Tabaro did. So share this episode with someone who needs to hear it most. Start asking questions and more about the air you breathe. And most importantly, stay informed and stay engaged and stay empowered. And if you're already following the sustainability side and the global goals connection, make sure you follow us on the Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, and for more conversations, we can have that real impact-driven conversations where actions truly matter. Because the future of sustainability doesn't belong to experts alone; it belongs to all of us. And once again, with another beautiful conversation, we'll all get connected. Until then, stay tuned, take care, and stay hygiene. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Feel the joy, let's unite on the sustainability side, making waves, shining light from city streets to the open skies. Together we rise with a love that defies gray.